Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show. Today we're going to make a whole food plant-based cornbread.
Whole food plant-based, it's the best thing for our taste. So pull up a chair and grab a plate, 'cause it's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
Alright, so we're going to get right in there and get started. What I have here is some coarse ground cornmeal, but from Bob's Red Mill, but you can get the finer grind, which is probably better, because I'm going to add that to my blender along with my 1 cup of oats, and I'm going to grind them down just a little bit better, because if you leave it in the coarser grind, your cornbread's going to be a little bit gritty. So we're just going to do that first. Just going to stick it in my blender and grind it down just a little bit. Okay, if you can see that, it's good. We're just going to set that aside for a second, and I'm going to get my flax egg together. We're not using eggs, we're going to use a flax egg. So I've got about 6 tablespoons of water in here, or about 1/4 of a cup. And I'm going to stick in there 1 tablespoon of flax meal. And I'm just going to stir it up just lightly. And while we're putting our other ingredients in here, this can be setting up and it gets gelatinous. But you can't just put it in there like that because it's too watery. So we're going to let it sit while we're mixing our other ingredients. So I'm going to put my dry ingredients in the bowl. And I've got a teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of the other way around. A teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're just going to gently mix those together just a little bit, because you really don't want to get any clumps of baking soda in there. You get a bite of that, ugh, it's kind of gross. Okay, so now we're going to get our wet ingredients together. Got a cup of unsweetened almond milk, but you can use any plant milk that you choose, but just preferably unsweetened, because we're going to sweeten it with dates. I've got 3 dates here, my jewel dates, and they're already pitted. About a tablespoon of peanut butter. This is just chunky, unsalted, just plain peanut butter with nothing in it, just ground up peanuts. And we're going to leave the corn till last. So we're going to blend this together until you can't really see the date chunks anymore. Okay, and I've got my oven already preheated to 400 degrees, so that is heating while we speak. Our flax egg is getting there, it's almost there. So we're going to add the wet ingredients to the cornmeal and the oats. And the full recipe will be in the link in the details below. And then we're going to add 1 cup of corn. And this was just a can of corn that I drained off. There's no salt. But if you can't find any that don't have salt, you can always just rinse them off lightly. Or you can get frozen corn and just thaw it out. So I'm just going to add that into there. And add our flax egg. See how it's getting gelatinous? That's what's going to hold our cornbread together a little bit better. Otherwise, it's a little bit crumbly. So we're just going to add that to there. And ideally, you should let that sit for about 5 minutes, which we're a little shy on that one, but it will be okay. We're just going to mix it up. And it's going to be really thick, because this is a hearty cornbread, because it's whole food. We're putting real ingredients in there, and we're trying to keep from grinding our flours too much so they're not too refined. Okay, that looks like it's about good enough. You can see that. And I've got just a regular silicone baking dish here. You can also use a tin or a glass one, but you might have to put just a little bit of something like coconut oil on it so it doesn't stick, or you can line it with parchment paper. just gonna stick it in there. Just smooth it out just a little bit. There we go. And we're gonna stick it into the oven for between 35 and 40 minutes. So I'm gonna check it at about 30 just to make sure it's not burning, but I think it's gonna take a full 40 minutes. Okay guys, here it is. It's been out of the oven for about 10 minutes. I let it cool a little bit. I'm just gonna plop it out of here. This is the benefit of these little silicone baking dishes, because it just comes right out. Wow, look at that. Yum! How perfect. Golden brown. We're just gonna slice off a slice. Try it out. Oh, look at that. See how nice that's holding together? Gorgeous. But, love it. It's just lightly sweet. This would go so good with my super chili recipe. So I'll give you a link to that in the details below so you can check it out. And this was also a suggestion from, I believe his screen name is LaserBeam002. I think so. So this is for you. So if you like the video and you get to try it out, be sure to make a comment and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.